Hello everyone. So today we're going to be diving deep into emotions and how to create them. So if you're apathetic, I'm going to have to ask you to politely leave. This is for people with emotions. Sorry. So we're going to be drawing all kinds of crazy emotions today, such as happiness, sadness, anger, chronic depression. And that's pretty much my emotion range. Maybe I'll even draw a little bit of horniness, but I don't know, is horniness an emotion? Is shooting blood down to your dong an emotion? I don't know, or is it just a state of being? You know what, well subscribe and I'll answer that in my next video about philosophy called Stinky Pete's Shithouse Philosophies. Feet, a shoe with pudding on it. Yeah. That's it? Yeah, that sounds great. Alright, now let's start with happiness. Woo! So I'm going to draw a very basic face for us to use for this emotion training. There we go. We've got two eyes, and I'll draw a little nose as well. I'm going to draw a tiny little nose. Okay, so we've got two eyes and a nose. Now, first step in happiness, there's quite a few different categories I want to go through. The position of their eyelids, where their eyebrows are, you know, the way that their mouth looks. Do they have like a glimmer in their eyes? Is their nose kind of slightly flared? You know, do they have smile lines and all that kind of stuff? So, with all of that in mind, let's just draw a base guy. So I'm gonna give him two pupils, and first of all, there we go. There's our little man. We're gonna give him like a little smile. There you go. See, and that at a base level is happiness. Well, it looks a little manic. Like it looks like he's just kind of walked in on you, busting a wank, and he's like, oh. I thought you were studying, but you know, that's okay, that's okay. So, as a base level of happiness, let's focus on the mouth first. The mouth. So, what are all the mouths we could possibly have with this? We can have just a nice smile. See? Just a line, just a curved line. If we put little lines here for his cheeks, it makes him look cuter. Do you know why? Because it makes it look like his cheeks are kind of puffy. You know, like they're kind of poofing out like one of those fugu fish. You know, the ones that you can't eat because you gotta chop them up properly. Yeah, it makes him kind of look like that. Look at that little guy. Look at these little puffy, blushing cheeks. He's adorable. So now we're gonna move on to the next stage of what we're talking about with mouths, which is like just changing the mouth a little bit. So we're gonna take a little half circle. You know, half a sun, like a sun before it's fully risen. You know, just plop that below his nose. Give him some of those nice little cute cheeks that we talked about. The cheeks that you just want to pinch and kiss and give all kinds of smooches to. And yeah, and what we're going to do now is we're going to try and add in a little bit of teeth. For a teeth line, you don't have to be that specific about it. I'll try and simplify it for you. Let's just kind of draw it in the middle of his mouth in like a general sense, you know, and then try and make it follow the curvature of his mouth that you already have. But it doesn't have to be perfect. My teeth are often never perfect. With a lot of things like this, a lot of people aren't going to notice little imperfections, and it's okay for it to not be perfect and straight, because it still conveys the point perfectly. You know, it's okay for a lot of things to not be perfectly straight, if I might say. So there we go. So now going on to what we're talking about next is pretty much just his general position, something we talked about before. So if you see this, I'm going to draw his head size. I'm going to make his head big, I'm going to make it bulbous, and because I've done that, his mouth can pretty much be anywhere you want it to be. It doesn't have to be up or down or anywhere in particular. Because his head size doesn't really dictate. He doesn't have his head's features dictating where his mouth should be. So for this one, you don't really have to worry about the position of the mouth too much. It's okay. Just put it wherever you want it to put it. As long as you put it below his eyes, and below his nose. Don't put it on his forehead. I mean, you can if you want to look pretty silly. So with all that in mind, let's move on to eyebrows. So I've just drawn some casual, normal eyebrows here. Just, you know, just standard ones that you'd see when you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I did pretty well today. I did well. And, you know, like, that's alright. So we'll keep it basic for the time being. With eyebrows, you can do a lot of stuff. Eyebrows can convey a lot of emotion. Or they can convey, you know, virtually no emotion. At the moment, you'll see that just with those brows, you already looked friendlier and nicer. With these brows, he looks a little bit more excited. He's like, ooh, you know, ooh, what's this? Question mark. Nuzzles. And then, yeah, and with eyebrows that are kind of pointed downwards like this, look, he just looks so sincere. Like, he looks like you've He's just told you that you've given him a cake that you baked, and he didn't really like it that much. He hates banana cream cake, but he's like, hey, it's really good. You've done so well. And that's just so sweet. Look at that, man. Look how sincere he looks. Look how genuine he looks. I absolutely love it. So, with all that in mind, yeah, now let's move on to exaggeration of brows. So see, the higher I put them, the more I exaggerate them, the more I kind of have to compensate with other features. So as his brows go higher and they're more pointed, I can make his mouth a little bit more, extreme. You don't have to always exaggerate features as you exaggerate other features, but it's something that I would recommend. If you're going to exaggerate one feature a lot, you should exaggerate a lot of his features a lot, because it just kind of balances out the picture. See, look at this giant mouth. It normally wouldn't look that fine, but because his eyebrows are so high up, it kind of suits his emotion. It suits what he's going for. He's over the moon. He's absolutely having a good time. But just as an example, let's go back to what we were talking about before. Let's go back to the basic face. And here we can also see that, yep, you can have a big mouth with regular eyebrows and it still does look fine. Although I wouldn't say it looks as good as it did when it just had, the really high up eyebrows and the really big mouth. But yeah, so with all that in mind, mouth size is important, and mouth size relative to eyebrow placement is important as well. So something that's good to remember is that if you are going to exaggerate your features, one feature, don't be scared to go ham on other features. Now, what I've done there is I've just kind of added in some eyelids. Eyelids are very important towards emotion, especially happiness. You find that the happier someone is, the higher their eyelids kind of go, or the closer their eyes kind of get to squinting. See here, we've just added in 2 little lines that connect up to the bottom of his pupils, and he already looks insanely happier. He just looks a lot more genuine, very joyous. We can put it a little bit higher, and then the higher and higher we put this little eyelid line, the happier and happier and happier he looks. So that's something that's really good to keep in mind. And you can kind of just keep raising it, and he just keeps looking happier and happier. We haven't changed anything else, as you've noticed. I haven't changed his mouth or his eyebrows or anything like that. We've just been changing his eyes. I mean, I've added in some teeth, but you get the idea. His mouth size is the same, and yet all we've been doing is changing the eyelids, and he just keeps kind of looking happier and happier. So that's something that's very good to keep in mind when it comes to eyelid alterations and all that kind of stuff, is that the higher you do it, the more happier he'll look. The more joyous he'll tend to look. The more extreme the emotion itself will be. Now, we can also, as we talked about in our previous video, add a little bit of soul into those eyes, and then there you go, bada bing, bada boom. Just do that by drawing a little bit of white into his pupils. It's all pretty standard stuff. That just makes him pop. Before we had this blank, manic character who just walked in and he busted a wank, and now we've got a character looking at you like you're his first love. Like he's like, please kiss me one last time, my darling. And it's a really simple change that does a lot for the face in itself. Now I'm going to show you one of my favorite things when it comes to happiness, and that's sincerity. And look at that. Just look at that. Look at him. The glimmer in his eyes, the slightly downturned eyebrows that would normally be seen as sad, but because he's smiling, the smile counteracts the naturally sad feel of the eyebrows. And just look at him. Look at him, look at you. Like a proud fucking papa. Like a proud papa of his little boy, telling you that you're the bomb. I'm even gonna put a couple of snot bubbles in there, and then bada bing, bada boom. He's so proud. He's literally, shooting mucus out of his nose. I don't know if my dad's ever been that proud of me. I hope not. But to go a little bit further beyond, that kind of proud feeling, why don't we, add in a couple lines to his face? Add in, some things that that kind of help give him a little bit of depth, give this flat character depth. When it comes to facial lines, that's something that I would probably say is more based around you understanding facial structure more. But, you can just follow what I'm doing here, Follow the curvature of his mouth, You see how his little cheek lines kind of curve around? Just draw another line around that. And then if you follow that line, you'd be able to follow it up to his nose and just kind of make a little inside curve. Curves near the nose should always be inwards. Curves near the mouth should always be outwards. It's a very, very good thing to work out. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of adding in some extra details to show you sort of what I would do in this kind of scenario with this kind of face to give it, I wouldn't say a little bit more realism, but a little bit of a nicer look. So I'm adding in some tears. Tears are pretty easy to add in. Even in black and white, you can actually give the perspective or the illusion that the water's kind of diluting the color of his eyes, and is that the word? I don't know. Either way, you can do that by erasing part of his eyes slightly, and then just kind of drawing squiggly lines coming off it, and then like a little dribble of fluid coming out of his eye, and there you go. It's a very simple way to draw tears, very simple, very effective, and something that I use constantly within my comics. But let's just get rid of all that, and we're going to go through one last thing with the eyelids. Well, not one last thing. Actually, sorry, the pupils, and that's that pupil size is pretty important. Pupil size can really dictate how someone looks and how someone feels. Right then, he just looks psychopathic. Even now, he looks like he's probably going to kill you. Now, he looks semi-normal-ish, and when you make him really big, he looks like he just found your mum's acid stash. And he's meeting Barney the dinosaur tonight. He doesn't have a ticket, but he's meeting Barney with eyes like that. God damn, look at those sauces. You could eat dinner off those fucking plates. God damn. So let's play a little bit more with the eyelids now. So pupil size is important. Keep that in mind. Eyelids. Look at that. We've kept these eyelids closed. Now, see how he still looks really happy? He still looks really joyous. We're going to bring back the sincere eyebrows. He still looks really sincere, even without his pupils. This kind of goes to show that pupils don't technically dictate the sincerity. What I guess gives it more sincerity is a lot of the other features. Pupils are important, definitely. Pupils carry a lot of the soul of the face, but a lot of the emotion comes from many of the other features working in harmony together. Something that's very, very good to memorize and it's very good to work out. Yeah, so always keep that in mind. Always, keep that in the back of your head that the most important thing is the language of the face as opposed to the eyes. And you can even draw him crying with his eyes closed. And look at that, see? He still looks just as sincere as the other guy did, even with his eyes closed, even without looking at you, even without you being able to see kind of that part of himself. That's something that's very good to remember, very good to memorize. Look at that. Boom. Like, I love him. See? Look at the difference, see? With his eyes closed and his eyes open, he still looks just as lovely. Still looks just as genuine. That's because his the language of his face, the language of his face in itself reeks emotion. His eyes add a little bit to it, definitely. This looks more like an interpersonal thing, like he's listening to his favorite song and he's absolutely loving it. The one where he's looking at you looks like he's a proud papa, and you're his little boy and you've done brilliant and marvelous things of your time. I'm going to add a little bit of flair to his nostrils. I wouldn't worry too much about your nose. But, it's something to consider, and I will do a video on noses later. But with a little bit of flair, it looks like he's kind of breathing in the fresh air now. See, his nose is a bit more up. Looks like he's breathing in that air. He's really sucking in life. He's just found Radiohead for the first time. That was pretty much the face that I pulled when I heard my first Radiohead song. Blew my entire mind. Daydreaming, True Love Waits. God, present tense. Love it. Love that album to bloody pieces. So yeah, with everything that you've learned, with everything that I've showed you, I hope I've, at least shown you enough. I'm just going to try and draw him a quick head. Yeah, and just give him a quick little design. As a warning, I'm going to make you look pretty silly, because, it's just a sneaky quick one. It's just one, just for the boys, just to give him a little more character, to make it so he has a tangible form, so he can leave this forsaken world of art that I've put him in. I'm gonna give him a little chin, some cool hair. Nah, maybe not. You know what? A little hat. We'll give him a little hat, a tiny, teensy tiny little hat. Like he's like, "Oh, Mister, you got a quarter for the vending machine." I love it. I love it. Look at that cheeky little bugger. There was one thing I kind of forgot to go over when it comes to the happiness side of the emotion. Something that I would like to just kind of quickly breeze over now. And that's just how to make, I guess, a few more different variations of what I talked about. So we're going to kind of just get rid of some of those lines. I'm just going to change his mouth a little bit. Make it a little bit smaller, Give him like a little tiny small mouth. You notice that as someone's mouth gets smaller, they look a bit more nervous. See? He looks pretty nervous there, like... Oh, look at that nervous little man. See? Tiny mouth, nervous, but he still looks kind of joyful. Looks nervous. Now we're going to kind of give him like a bit of a classic kind of blushing face. Big old goofy smile. His eyes in the corner, just some quick little lines on his cheeks to, you know, anime style lines, classic blushing. Usually probably make him pink if it was in color. Give him some classic eyebrows, and then boom, look at that. Some lighting in his eyes, a little bit of highlights. And that guy, yeah, he looks like he's blushing. He looks like he's totally blushing. I love it. I absolutely love that, man. Gonna give him even try like a big long smile. Could even just close those eyes again, as we talked about before. You know, you can close the eyes, that's fine. He's still gonna look just as happy. And look at that. He's living in bliss. He's living in absolute bliss. I love him. That's pretty much me coming to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave any feedback if you have some. Thanks for your time. I really do appreciate it. Catch you later, everyone.